Since the 1970s, psychologists and educators have debated the idea of individual learning styles, these styles being auditory, visual, and kinesthetic. A study published by the MacroThink Institute found that the majority of students prefer kinesthetic and tactile learning rather than visual or auditory, which are the most commonly used in classrooms today. So what is kinesthetic learning? Kinesthetic learning, or tactile learning, is a learning style in which learning takes place by the students carrying out physical activities rather than listening to a lecture or watching demonstrations. So rather than learning through a lecture or PowerPoint, what would resonate most with these students would be an interactive activity or a field trip. So if students enjoy learning and retain information so well kinesthetically, why aren't more subjects taught in this fashion? In the past, the answer to this question was that these sorts of activities take an excess of time, effort, and money. However, with the introduction of easily accessible and cheap sensor and programming technologies, kinesthetic learning and training activities are easier to create and obtain than ever. Some subjects that can be learned through wearable technologies range anywhere from proper running technique through a smart shoe that senses pressure points during jogs, to the leapfrog band, which encourages kids to take on athletic challenges while teaching them about nutrition, hygiene, and health, to augmented reality services that can make a presentation come to life. Here's an example of an educational wearable I was able to create for less than $50. I call it Skelepal. Skelepal is a shirt designed to help students learn the parts of the skeletal system in a way that's memorable and hands-on. The way the device works is that a student or a teacher would turn on the equipment, the shirt would ask the user to find the bone it names, the user would tap the region and the suit would turn red or green based on the answer if it was correct. Once all the bones are guessed correctly, the entire suit lights up in a rainbow pattern as a surprise for the user. Technologies like these are not only a good way to create a physical learning experience, they're also a great way to engage students in a competition and progress as the student progresses, with different modes and levels of difficulty. Just this technology could be extended to learning the parts of the body for young children, muscle groups, or even acting as an interactive surgery training technique. Although these technologies are promising, there are reasons why many of them need further development before they can be something we truly depend on. One reason is inaccuracy. Many wearable technologies are criticized for their inaccuracy, specifically athletic watches similar to the Fitbit. In the last few years, multiple versions of these products have been criticized and pulled from shelves after finding inaccuracies. For some users, inaccuracies can make the product obsolete, and in some cases, a reliance on these products can become dangerous. Many of these products have been proven to track heart rates at a significantly lower rate than trackers distributed by doctors that track from the chest. Studies from both California State Polytechnic University and Ball State in Indiana found that during intense exercise, the Fitbit was less likely to measure heart rate accurately, sometimes by as much as 20 to 30 beats per minute. Other studies found that the average user of the Fitbit only used it for 6 months to a year before selling it or pawning it off to a relative. Those who kept the technologies for longer were often users with heart conditions that needed a simple way to track their heart in everyday life. Unfortunately, for these users, the inaccuracy is most damaging. While these technologies are advancing every day, it's most important right now that we thoroughly test their accuracy so users do not depend on inaccurate information about their health or learn skills or information in an incorrect fashion. Another downfall of these technologies is the limit of true interactivity when compared with a real-life instructor. These automatic and mobile teaching tools can be extremely helpful in terms of availability. However, these products can currently only provide so much information before the user will have questions or will want further information that only a human instructor could provide. These technologies are more likely to provide the most important information while excluding the why and the how, which are extremely important in meaningful education. For example, if a user of the smart running shoe wanted feedback about a unique reason for their running patterns or a display of the proper technique they should be working towards, these resources would not be currently available. For these reasons, I believe educational wearables should be a supplement in education rather than the primary source. So a teacher could be there to provide answers and extra information as well as troubleshooting for inaccuracies. Another issue many people find with the incorporation of these technologies is that while they are becoming more and more prevalent, they're still not completely available to all students. Some of the technologies require a laptop or a smartphone to set up or view the information harvested by the technology. Integrating technologies like these without a method of accessibility for all students would be unfair, and purchasing all the equipment necessary for all students to access it would be significantly more expensive than the technology itself. While educational wearables are an exciting, novel, and promising form of education, they must be further refined to improve their accuracy, reliability, and availability before they can be integrated regularly into school systems and relied upon to improve education and training. Despite the current downfalls, I believe investing in wearable technologies is an excellent way to enhance our experiences by making technology as intuitive as possible by relating it to ourselves.